Ontario NDP Leader Marit Stiles is currently making an announcement at the Canadian Automotive Museum in Oshawa. Let's take you there now live and listen to Marit Stiles' remarks.
About being able to make rent and mortgage payments. You're worried about the cost of groceries and how you're going to feed your families, your kids. People are worried that tariffs are going to make life even more expensive than it already is in Ontario. And people are afraid that life in Ontario is going to become even harder. And there's no question, Donald Trump's tariffs are a direct and existential threat to Ontario, to our province, to our economy, and to our quality of life. Ontario's NDP have a plan to protect workers from the worst of the tariffs and to fight back. As Premier, I will defend each and every single job in this province. We will fight back as part of a strong Team Canada, and we will get to work building a tariff-proof Ontario for the years ahead. First, we have to defend jobs and look after our people. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to work with Ontario employers, workers, and their unions to defend auto jobs right here in Ontario and all across the province, Oshawa, to Windsor, and everywhere else. We're going to do the same for all trade-exposed industries, providing direct support, creating new supply chains, very important, and finding new export markets to keep workers employed as we deal with the shock of these tariffs. Right now, millions of Ontarians are thinking, how do I swap out American products for Canadian? I mean, I'm doing that. Right? I'm thinking, where am I going to buy my coffee this morning? I'm thinking, when I go to the grocery stores, do I really need that American apple? Or can I go Canadian, right? And I think a lot of Ontarians are thinking the same thing right now. We're going to do the same in the government. Government has a lot of power here in the province of Ontario, and we can direct the Ontario government agencies to buy Ontario. We need to keep people working as our top priority. But if people do lose their jobs, we need to work with the federal government on a joint plan to protect people's incomes. We need to care for people. Trump is counting on working families buckling under this pressure, and we've got to have your back. Second, we're going to fight back together. We're going to play for Team Canada. And we're going to work in lockstep with our federal government, along with our provincial counterparts, right? We are stronger together, all of us in lockstep, working on a smart, strong tariff response. Together we are stronger, and together is how we win. And third, looking to the future, we need to make sure that Ontario isn't in this position again. This means building a stronger and more resilient Ontario. So as Premier, I'm telling you today that I will build a more tariff-proof Ontario. An NDP government will work with local industries to help them find new Canadian and international markets. We're going to reduce internal trade barriers here in Canada, and we're going to redouble our efforts to promote Ontario-made goods. If you lose your job and you want to work, we're going to put you to work. We'll identify infrastructure projects that can be accelerated, fixing schools, building more homes, building transit. We can keep people working in the province of Ontario. And we're going to invest in retraining, in skilled trades development, and shore up our colleges and our universities. We're going to ensure our workforce has the skills they need. Together, we can take action to strengthen Ontario so we are less vulnerable in the future to these economic attacks and become more self-sufficient. About time. So folks, listen. Doug Ford, he wants us to put our faith in him again, to give him another 4 years. But his own record of bad deals shows us how very risky that would be in this new reality. Look at what he has done to Ontario over the last 4 years. Housing is more expensive than it has ever been. Schools are crowded and falling apart. Colleges and universities are actually cutting programs that we need in the province of Ontario, including skilled trades programs. And big transit projects are endlessly delayed and overcost. 7 years of Doug Ford has left us so vulnerable to the tariffs that Trump has coming. He's made Ontario weaker, and he's failed to look after our people. So I want to ask Ontarians, after everything, do you really think you can trust Doug Ford to protect us? Do you really think you can trust Doug Ford in this moment? Right here in Oshawa, where GM nearly closed back in 2018, Doug Ford gave up. I remember that. You know, I remember him saying that ship had left the dock. I also remember Jennifer French saying he folded like a deck of cards.
No, folded like a cheap suit.
He folded like a cheap suit. There you go. And he shrugged his shoulders. He said, nothing we could do here. He was willing to let thousands of workers here in Oshawa lose their jobs. And it wasn't until Jen French and the NDP stood up and said, we're not going to let you off the hook here. It is your job to fight for every single worker in every single job in this province. And we were able to do that. We were able to bring back jobs, to keep jobs here, when he was ready to fold like a cheap suit. You cannot count on Doug Ford, but you can count on me. You can count on me. You can count on Jennifer French. Together, we will protect workers and communities. Together, we can fight back. Together, we can build a stronger and more resilient Ontario, more tariff-proof Ontario that is truly resilient. A province that isn't going to be pushed around by bullies. An Ontario that is filled with opportunity again and hope, and where good jobs aren't just a part of our history, but are a part of our reality and a part of our future. It is time for a premier and a government that is on your side. I'm running to be that premier. We are running to be that government. Thank you very much, and I'm really happy.
Okay, that is NDP Leader Marit Stiles making an announcement, a pitch in Oshawa today, talking about affordability, talking about how the tariffs being imposed by the U.S. and Donald Trump will make things even more difficult. And then, of course, going after Doug Ford's record, saying that only the NDP and premiership of Marit Stiles will help protect the province and keep it, what did she say?
Tariff-proof Ontario.
Tariff-proof Ontario, yeah, exactly.